Guys, I think HBO is bored because they just randomly dropped a new Game of Thrones show. Yeah, no, I totally forgot that the show was coming, but they just released the first episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. This is definitely the most unique Game of Thrones show so far. It follows this guy called Dunk, and unlike other Game of Thrones characters, he's A, not an asshole, and B, nowhere near like royalty. He's nowhere near the whole political higher class of the other Game of Thrones shows. He's like the squire of a knight who's not even like a good knight. And so this is really the first time that we're following like a true peasant character in the world of Game of Thrones. And I actually really dig that about the show. The tone of the show is also wildly different. Right off the bat, they do this fake out where they start playing the Game of Thrones theme, and then it does like a hard cut to our main character like pooping behind a tree, and it just immediately lets you know that this ain't your grandpappy's Game of Thrones. This is its own thing, and I think it's a nice change of pace personally because, if we got just another Game of Thrones show while House of the Dragon was running, it would probably feel like not necessary and overstay its welcome to a certain extent. It also looks like the show is going to follow him having this little kid as a squire. And people can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I want to say this is based off of a George R. R. Martin book called like Dunk and Egg or something like that. Because, yeah, our main character is called Dunk, and his little squire here is called Egg. And, yeah, he's just this random little kid that he meets that, just like, hey, I want to be your squire. And, it's a little predictable where at first Dunk is like, no, I don't need a squire. And then by the end of the episode, he kind of just comes around to it. It's a little predictable. Some of the character motivations in that don't necessarily make sense. Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense as to why. I don't know. They didn't really build up to the moment of Dunk accepting him as a squire. Like I feel like nothing really happened to actively make him change his mind on that. He just kind of does. But at the end of the day, their chemistry together is really cute. I really like the kid. And Dunk is just such a he really is a character that you want to root for in the world of Game of Thrones. And so I don't know. I'm a lot more forgiving about stuff like that. Or at least I think I will be in this show. Now, because it is Game of Thrones, there are jerks in the show, and so you can already tell that this guy who's a jerk to Dunk at the beginning of the episode, like, because whenever they fight in the tournament or whatever, Dunk is gonna beat this guy up. I don't know if they kill people in this tournament, but he's gonna beat him up. He very well could kill him, and it's gonna be great. Like, you really do just get the vibe that this is going to be a pleasant show where our main characters are just gonna kind of triumph, and good things are gonna happen to them, unless things take a completely different turn. I mean, that I guess that would be in the vein of Game of Thrones, but I just kind of don't think that that's gonna happen. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. There is also this nice moment with the prostitutes where you can tell that they're very much used to the normal type of characters that are in Game of Thrones, and so they're making fun of Dunk. They're roasting him a bit, and when he kind of lays out his more sensitive side, it was nice when they kind of like let their guard down a bit and were more earnest when speaking to him. So I think that this is kind of going to be also one of those shows where Dunk maybe like inspires some kind of positivity into the lives of the people of Westeros as much as you realistically can. So we'll see where those types of interactions go from here. We also have this character who was interesting. I'm going to be totally honest with you. Don't remember his name. I think he might have said he was a part of House Lannister in King's Landing. Did he say that? I think he did. So I don't know. He's like some higher up in King's Landing, I think. And he was a nice character, right? He, danced with Dunk. He kind of spoke with him. Um, and again, it's just nice. It's like this is just a good time so far. It's not dark and depressing and oh everybody's out to get you. Um, like I appreciate that Dunk is a nice guy and people are nice back to him. You would have thought that when he discovered that Dunk wasn't really supposed to be there, that they would have like thrown him out into the night without letting him eat. But they let him eat. They let him dance. They talked. It was pleasant. Although I am curious to see how exactly Dunk is now going to get into the tournament because I remember they said that you needed somebody to like pledge for you or something. Um, and when Dunk was finally able to talk with the guy who his knight served under or something, maybe he'll go and try to convince this guy. That's kind of what it seems like might happen. But we'll see. Regardless, I had a really good time with this first episode. I also did see that the rest of the runtimes of the episodes are like pretty short. I think they're around like 30 minutes. I think this first episode was around like 40ish minutes. But I honestly don't think it's going to be a problem because this is such a small story. It's interesting, right? The proper Game of Thrones show was this massive story with so many different characters and storylines and yada yada yada. And then House of the Dragon is like more condensed, where it's really just following one group of people, and it's not nearly as spanning as Game of Thrones. And now we're really focusing even more on just Dunk and Egg, presumably. And so I don't think that the runtimes are going to be an issue because this just isn't a show where we're going to be cutting to a bunch of other characters and families and houses and Jon Snow's and whatever. So I don't think it'll be an issue, but we'll see. That is definitely a possibility of the runtimes being too short. But either way, let me know what you thought of the first episode. Are you going to watch more? Are you going to watch my reviews? Hopefully. Subscribe. Bye.